stone.
That's not right. Hey, there we go. Alright, YouTube folks, feel free to jump ahead about 2 minutes. I'm going to start the deck tech in 2 minutes here at 7:15 my time. I'm just going to do a couple of side things here while I let people get in. Tonight's deck list I think is going to be a lot of fun. This was a deck list someone donated to have me play. I suppose about 2 weeks ago I got a donation from someone who wanted to see some Mentor Blade. And I played that, and then afterwards he sent me another message and was like, all right, I'm gonna donate, you know, enough for 3 leagues. I want you to pick 3 different Stoneblade decks of your choice and stream with them. So this is the first of those deck lists. There will be 2 more. Some of them are spicier than others. This one I consider, like, very fair and relatively stock in many capacities, many ways. No Spellstrutter sprites, no fun. NCEP Top, I'm sure you're familiar, but just in case, if you haven't watched Asian Food Goods channel, and it's Isoka MTG, he runs a Spellstrutter sprite build, and he's a pretty funny guy. Occasionally, he's been known to have a few too many drinks in stream, so that leads to some misplays. But I really enjoy his content. I haven't gotten to watch a lot recently, but a couple months back I was watching pretty regularly. Oh, okay, you're a mod for him. Great. Which is to say he mods almost anyone. Yeah, I might be a mod over there, too. I'm not sure. I know one time someone, like, gifted me a subscription to his channel, so I got to use that emote for a little while. There's some cool stuff going on over there. Let's see. I ran something similar to this yesterday to a 2-1 finish, changing it up a bit to fit in new Teferi. It was gas. Yeah, so while I was eating dinner, I watched one of Jeff Hoogland's replays. Someone donated to have him stream Blue-White Teferi Stasis. So that was interesting. I only watched the first round, but deck list was neat. Alright, so it's 7:15, so I'm going to start my deck tech. Good evening, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University. Today we're streaming with a donation deck list. This is Blue-White Stoneblade. I really like Blue-White Stoneblade, historically speaking, because I feel like it's a very solid deck. Like, brainstorm and ponder, tie everything together. Jace does as well. You have, like, super efficient removal, very efficient counterspells, more copies of those very efficient things, some mid-range powerful cards that have great endgame value with Snapcaster, a couple of one-ofs that have great value with Snapcaster, and then hard to deal with or evasive threats. Like, True Name is a bear to mess with. Click has evasion and is also disruptive. So I feel like most of the main deck here is just full of good, solid, honest Magic cards. Except maybe Back to Basics. Back to Basics is a beating if you are not ready to fight against this. So it's a 3-mana enchantment, and you know how I love enchantments. It's a 3-mana enchantment that says non-basic lands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. So essentially, this is a one-sided Armageddon in many cases. You, like, are at parity, and then all of a sudden you slam Back to Basics and your opponent doesn't get any more mana. It's pretty neat. So that's why this deck is so heavy on basic lands instead of, like, running something like Deathrite Shaman. So instead of kind of, like, getting greedy in that capacity and running, like, a four-color mana base, this just is a 2-color deck, very solid, very stock, built around Back to Basics. Now, every once in a while that can be awkward, right? Because, like, you have these 4 basic planes and 1 Karakas, and you also have blue spells like Counterspell that you really would love to cast on turn 2 sometimes. And you do have a few mana-intensive cards like Verdict and Jace, but, like, it's not the end of the world. Looking at the sideboard, I have these sweet mismatched disenchants for tilt value. But other than that, again, it's just kind of like good, solid stuff, right? A lot of, like, 2-ofs for some degree of consistency with the cantrips. So, like, we have Disenchant, Canonist, Surgical Extraction, Meddling Mages as 2-ofs. And then a handful of additional counterspells of various natures, an additional Verdict and an Elspeth for fair fights, an additional piece of equipment, primarily for matchups like Check Pile, where some of it's going to get blown up. And I just kind of really like 74 of the 75 cards here. I'm not sold on Blue Elemental Blast. This historically is a card that I have not enjoyed. Oh, Bill, thank you very much for your subscription. I appreciate your support. It means a lot. So I'm not sold on Blue Elemental Blast. Like, historically, I've never felt like this card was good enough. But people are always like, oh, it can hit Sneak Attack. It's so great against Burn. Like, about the only thing I want to Blue Elemental Blast when I'm playing this deck is something like Chandra that's hiding behind an Ensnaring Bridge. So, like, I didn't take the card out because Red Prison is picking up so much steam, but it's awkward, right? Because this is a 1-drop that I would want to play against Red Prison, a Chalice deck, which really wants to play Chalice to lock me out of all of this stuff. So, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about some of that. But otherwise, like, I really like the other 74 cards. So this, I believe this deck list came from Brazil, by Domingos Filho, plus or minus some pronunciation there. And I'm excited to give this a go. Celestial Purge isn't awful. Okay. Yeah, something like Celestial Purge might even be better than Blue Elemental Blast, honestly. I could buy that. I have registered Celestial Purge in Legacy before. I'll admit that. Yes, 20 lands is enough purely because you have cantrips. So like D&T runs 23 lands, this runs 20, and you can kind of count each Brainstorm and Ponder as half a land. So it's kind of like this deck plays 24 lands. Kind of. Otherwise, you can view it as, like, view each cantrip as, like, a third of a land. That might be more fair. And even then it's still, like, what, 22 lands? Something like that? 22.5 lands? And then that's fine. So I have a handful of other announcements that I want to make, but I'm going to do them after round 1 when there's more people around. I'm just going to confirm that I clicked the right one here. Yes, Domingos. I have some exciting announcements today. I think you'll like them. Alright, looks like my opponent has been playing Delver decks in 2017. That may or may not mean anything. I'm gonna keep this hand. This hand's a little bit awkward. Assuming I get a fetch land, I can Brainstorm end of turn, turn 1, play Stoneforge turn 2 to shuffle away some of these equipment, and then get them back with Stoneforge. So I'm keeping this hand on the strength of that. This is probably a fine time to Brainstorm. I can put one crap card back and hide my Stoneforge on top of the library. No fetch land's a little rough. So I'm going to hide Batterskull, and then I'll put Stoneforge on top. And then that resolves. We're not in any hurry playing this deck, so it's okay if I miss Ooh, taking the Brainstorm. So I usually don't pay attention to what art I am getting when I make card hoarder orders. Ooh, that's great. So I'll put back Batterskull, Jace, Strand, shuffle your library. No. Play Flooded Strand. The trap. Got him. So now my opponent doesn't get to drain me with Deathray. Which is why I didn't just immediately point the Swords to Plowshares at Deathray Shaman. Evening, Ken. I think this turn I'm going to play a Stoneforge Mystic that's going to get Abrupt Decayed. That's kind of what it feels like. So maybe I should just, like, pass and click them. But I can also just, like, ponder, then use Stoneforge to shuffle. No, I think I want to waste their mana. Let's kind of fight fair here. Okay, not a decay. Oh my. So my opponent is playing like a bug graveyard value deck, it looks like. I'm kind of tempted to just leave them with all of this. Their hand doesn't do a lot right now. If I leave them with all of this, I can just, like... Or maybe I take the push. I take the push and then try to just, like, shove a Batterskull down their throat. That's probably fine. I don't know if I take the Goyf if I have Verdict and Batterskull potentially coming. Like, I could take the Goyf since it's their only threat, and they might be, like, if I Verdict it, they can reanimate it and unearth it back. I can see an argument for that. I can also just, like, take the Tarmogoyf, play my Stoneforge after pondering, let them kill it with Fatal Push, and then just, like, hardcast the Batterskull a few turns down the line. That's probably fine. I think there's two choices here. Either take Push or take Tarmogoyf. I think both choices are very good. How big's the Tarmogoyf? So we have land, instant, sorcery, creature. It's a 4/5, so it is bigger than Batterskull, but Batterskull plus Jitte beats that. Maybe I don't get both, though. Alright, I'll take the Goyf. Senor Yace. Hello. Ooh, those are some great cards. So I'm going to go Plains, Stoneforge, Plains, No shuffle. You have chosen wisely. Alright, let's shut off that draw step stop. I don't need that. Reanimate Vendilion Flick. That's pretty good. But Jace unsummon that Vendilion Flick is gonna be like fucking hilarious. And I'm still gonna get a Jitte at some point. That's not the best. But it's not the worst. So how do I want to do this? I kind of want to put Counterspell 2 down. No, I guess I put Batterskull 2 down because I want to protect it. Yeah, so I'm going to put Batterskull 2 down and then Counterspell on top. Go ahead and take this opportunity to just resolve my Jitte. And we can take plenty of hits from this click. Those cards indeed are not named Back to Basics, unfortunately. Oh god, just like tap out for a Jace. Just tap out for a Jace. Do it. Oh god, yes. Yes! That's such satisfaction. So I want to hold Counterspell up during their turn. I'm fine with taking another hit from my click. And then I'll Brainstorm end of turn if they don't make a land drop. Because they have Force of Will, Unearth in hand as 2 of their cards. Oh no, oh no. You... Actually, I'm gonna, like, change my mind about what I'm doing a couple of times, and then we have this awesome Spell Snare. Now I can also Brainstorm. Well, I guess I didn't really think that through all the way, but I guess that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and Brainstorm right here. And I'm just gonna kind of like get a feel for my next turn. Okay. So I'm gonna get rid of this Plains. And I'll put Batterskull on top. And then Unearth Resolves. Yeah, this is an honorable control deck, right? Alright, so my opponent has Force of Will X in their hand. Do I just, like, jam Batterskull right here? Or do I just, like, Verdict and then jam Batterskull the next turn? I'd probably just Verdict and take my 2-for-1. It'll kind of suck if they draw a land and pass, because then I won't get to resolve my Batterskull easily. And that might be a reason to just jam it right here, because, like, my Batterskull plus Jitte beats their board very easily. I can also, like, protect it via counterspell every turn after this one. I think it's Batterskull. What does chat say? I jam Batterskull. I think Batterskull's the play here. I agree. Let's do it. Alright, that was a possibility. And that's fine. So, like, on my next turn, I'll Supreme Verdict their board. And if I draw a land, I'll also have Counterspell up. That's great. I have Spell Pierce as protection from a big spell like a Jace. That's fine. God, Spell Pierce is so good, chat. Spell Pierce is so good. God, this feels great. I haven't played blue-white Stoneblade in years. So I have True Name and Jace on board, with a Jitte on board, and a counterspell backup. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, so we're playing against some sort of bug-ish control deck. So Elspeth seems sweet. This sword seems sweet. Rip seems great at turning off all those unearthed shenanigans. And since my opponent has a bunch of Tarmogoyfs, Supreme Verdict's probably fine. What don't I want? I guess my forces? Like, this is a fair fight, so Force of Will is probably the worst card in my deck. I don't know about Bug Delver, right? Like, we saw Unearth and Reanimate and Lily Last Hope. I'm more leaning towards this as some sort of, like, bug mid-range to bug control deck. It's Bug Delver, but all the Delver cards are reanimation spells. That sounds about right, yeah. Like, other than the 4 cards I have here, I think the only thing else I'd want to consider is, like, Flusterstorm. But this one doesn't hit Planeswalkers, which is what my Spell Pierce just, like, absolutely wrecked. So what would you do with the Surgical? Let me ask you that. Just, like, Surgical their reanimation targets? Eh? Like, I'm not overly impressed by that. Like, it's not like they're reanimating a Gristlebrand, right? They're reanimating, like, another Tarmogoyf or another Baleful Strix. So it's kind of annoying, but not that annoying. Surgical, our own Vendilion Click, IQ 200. Oh. Oh, sorry, that was a question. Surgical not worth it. Yes, I believe that Surgical is not worth it. I just don't think that's good enough. God, this one of Spell Snare is probably gonna do something dirty this turn. My opponent's gonna do something like him me, and I'm just gonna give him the middle finger. Middle finger confirmed. This deck's great. I'm having so much fun. So, I can just, like, fetch Tundra, Jam, Stoneforge here, or I can just pass and, like, brainstorm, set up my hand a little bit more. I feel kind of like I want to be a little more patient with this Stoneforge and potentially react to a 3-drop that they have by looking for a Spell Pierce. The Elspeth was in the sideboard. No, I'm gonna Stoneforge this turn. The reason why is that if my Stoneforge just gets killed, I can shuffle away the equipment with a Brainstorm a turn or two down the line. I think that's valuable. And I'm going to incentivize my opponent to kill it, because Batterskull is a sweet card. Oh, Elspeth, no! I don't really want to miss a land drop. I kind of want to get greedy and Brainstorm. Like, I get 3 looks at a land to just, like, vastly improve my current situation. It's so bad if I whiff. But this deck really wants to make land drops. Really, really, really wants to make land drops. I'm not going to risk it. I think my position's great. I'm going to main phase put in this Batterskull to play around an opposing Vendilion Click. Because that seems like the sort of card that my opponent might have in their deck. And a Click would destroy me. If they have something stupid like a Pulse that answers the Batterskull, I accept. Chat, do not let me brainstorm. Yeah, the Lord Darku, absolutely. Please make all of your mistakes with learning the client and getting used to playing the deck and like playing the deck quickly while in the tournament practice room. You'll make your life so much better and so much easier when like it's time for the real thing. You won't have like incinerated a bunch of money learning the client. That's a good draw. I'm fine with doing this here. Well, I'm gonna put back true name, true name. I'll play a plains. And then I'll be a turn or two away from dealing with that. Ooh, Tarmogoyf's a big boy. This is so close to everything I could possibly want. Oh yeah, this is like totally a 2016 match, right? It's like Tarmogoyf in like a bug shell versus Batterskull in a blue-white Stoneblade deck. Alright, do not cantrip. Do not cantrip. That's amazing. I guess I should put this sword in now. If I was playing around Click earlier, I should continue to play around Click now. As soon as I get that other blue source, I'm in business. I'll get past you, Tarmogoyf. Just you wait. Just you wait. Well, my germ is pro-blue, so that's fine-ish. Thoughtseize me. Have fun with this hand. Have fun with it. Because it's stacked. I feel like... Oh, taking a true name. Well, that's a bad draw. But it's fine. Like, I still have a play to make. Rest in Peace would be a pretty stellar draw as well. Like, shrink the Tarmogoyf, just, like, start bashing in with the Germ. Gets through Leovold, so, like, Tarmogoyf and Deathrite just become jump blockers. What's everyone's least favorite Legacy deck? Ooh, it's a good question. I don't love Belcher. Like, Belcher, relatively speaking, is a very linear all-in deck with a somewhat low skill cap. Belcher doesn't do anything for me. So I guess I'd say that. Attack in with the Tarmogoyf. That can't mean anything good for me. I'm gonna protect my life total. I'm gonna jump block with this. That way, if my opponent like wanted to Toxic Deluge or something like that. Oh, second Tarmogoyf. Rest in peace. Stellar draw. Let's do it. This one's starting to slip away. I think I'm fine pondering just to, like, try to find a land, hoping that my opponent doesn't realize they can, like, Fate Seal me and put the land that I find at the bottom. I'm gonna do that. I concede this game if my opponent Fate Seals me and puts that land on bottom. But they're not that smart. They probably just think I messed up and forgot about Leovold. Well, that's not good for me. Opponent just going for the value plan with Liliana. Getting a Strix. Sure. Yeah, Friege, I don't know why whatever message you're trying to send isn't going through. So I think I can just, like, stick True Name Nemesis and then use True Name to, like, plow through everything my opponent has going on. That's probably just, like, way better than everything else I've got going on. Choose you. Farish, that's a ton of text. Remind me after this game, and I'll be happy to answer whatever you're talking about, but I can't read that much and keep up with this game currently. Jeez. Six, 12, 13. That's bad. So 6, 12, 15, that's 16 damage, so I have to chump block. That's unfortunate. I think I'm just dead. Yep. Alright. Okay, so if you're struggling against Stoneblade, play the narrow cards that beat that matchup. Like, if you need to beat Stoneblade decks, you put Manriki Gusari in your deck, and they flop around and they die. But Manriki Gusari is just, like, really narrow, so you don't really want to play it elsewhere. So if you're just looking for, like, little things otherwise that you can do that will, like, marginally give you advantage, play, like, the Recruiter of the Guard and the Leonin Relic Order in the sideboard to give you more outs to it. You can go back up to the third Phyrexian Revoker if you want in the main deck. I know a lot of people, myself included, have gone back down to 2. Otherwise, like, I wouldn't really board very much for Stoneblade unless you're just playing in your local meta, because, like, there's almost no Stoneblade running around, he says as he plays Stoneblade. But it is not insane to go and just, like, sounds great, to go and play a one of Pontiff. Maybe we'll find a back to basics this game. Don't want that swords. I probably want these other 2 cards. My clock also got way lower than I thought it was at, somehow. I have example mana bases on Thraben University, especially under the splash pages stuff. Okay. That's interesting. Oh, there's a page specifically about the math of splashing. That will be more useful to you than some of the splash pages themselves. Naturalize, jeez. I'm fine with taking this hit, and then I'll rest in peace away the Goyf. Juicy. Can't ask for more. I'm not even going to care that I shut off my Snapcaster. I don't think I have a turn to take off in order to like get the value I want out of that. Sorry, Chad, I need to ignore you for a little while. Nothing personal. Clock's getting low, and I feel like I have this one very easily locked up. This is just to play around an Abrupt Decay. Technically should have done that on my turn, but I hit F6. Okay. That's fine. Joke's on you, sucker. Got my free damage. I know that doesn't really do much at this stage. But still 100% okay with playing it. Great. Planeswalkers are good. Did you know that, chat? Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Let me look at some of these chat comments from the last couple of minutes. Why wouldn't they fetch Basic Swamp for the Strix? They probably weren't thinking about back to basics. They probably just thought, like, I have Carpet of Flowers, that's irrelevant. Yeah, we did not need to ultimate Elspeth this game. It was, in fact, incorrect to do so. Like, I just had the game finished with aggro out. I did want to ultimate it, because, like, ultimating that emblem against, like, a bug deck is stupid. The Naturalize is weird, but, yeah, like you said, and Septop, because of, like, Blood Moon going around right now, like, relying less on something like Abrupt Decay that costs 2 off-colors makes a lot of sense. Who cares about correct? We want fun. Shut up and ultimate the Elspeth, Phil. Yeah, okay, I get what you're getting at there. Okay, so I've got some assorted announcements. Let me grab a drink of water and then I'll go into those. Okay, so number 1, I just finished the D&T versus Red Prison matchup primer that someone donated to have me write. So that is now up on Thraben University under the matchup tab. Feel free to check that out if you didn't catch that earlier today. So again, that is not under the articles tab, that is under the matchups tab, and I just finished the Red Prison one. Okay. Number 2, I want to thank Raymond V for the donation for having me do these Stoneblade streams. Chat seems to like what's going on, despite me not ultimating Elspeth there. Number 3, I want to thank Card Hoarder in particular today, more so than ever. I sent them an email earlier today, and I said, hey, I've got this Stoneblade list that I want to play, but my current loan account isn't enough to do it. You know, I'm having to borrow a bunch of cards from other people. Will you make my loan account bigger? And I got an email back 10 minutes later that said, yep, that's absolutely fine. Shot a couple emails back and forth, and now my loan account is much bigger than it used to be. So it will be easier for me to stream more deck lists than before. So now most of the blue deck lists are going to be within reasonable range given my collection now. So that's pretty exciting. So I went from having a $300 loan account to a $500 loan account, so life's good. Number 3, very happy we recently hit over 900 followers, so that means it's time to play the enemy. So tomorrow afternoon when I get off of work, I will be doing an Elves stream. So I get off of work at 12:30 tomorrow. I'll probably want to eat. Expect to stream maybe 1:30 tomorrow, and when we'll play some Elves. Get you through the second half of your workday. Should be a good start to. Oh wait, no, tomorrow's Thursday, but it's my last day, so it feels like Friday. Sorry, tomorrow, Thursday, I'll get you through the second half of your day with an Elves stream. It should be a lot of fun. Do you play any formats besides Legacy, Phil? I'm a Legacy specialist. I dabble in other formats. I play a little Vintage from time to time. I used to play Modern a lot, but I haven't touched the format in 6 or 8 months at this time. I play a good amount of Cube, that's especially in paper. I get together with friends and Cube pretty frequently. But I'm mostly a Legacy guy. Elves are the devil. Hope you get crushed. Nothing personal. Oh, I'm gonna channel my inner Julian tomorrow and just 5-0 with Elves. That's the plan. If we lose as Elves to D&T, I'll riot. That's reasonable. Yeah, yay Card Hoarder indeed. I know they're my sponsor, and so a lot of times people say oh, you're just plugging Card Hoarder because they give you stuff. No, I've really had wonderful experiences with Card Hoarder in every capacity, from me buying my deck through them, to them giving me the loan account, to them making me a part of their network and auto-hosting my streams. I've had great customer service from them. I really like them. If you need cards, consider them. But you don't have a Yoshi doll to sit on your shoulder the whole stream. I'm working on that, Basic Plains. I've got a fix, don't you worry. Oh, I am 100% going all in on the Julian thing. Just you wait. I'm going to have so much fun with it. I really have huge amounts of respect for Julian and the content he produces. I really hope to see more of his content again soon. He took kind of a hiatus for a little while he got real life in order. But then we've seen a couple of really fun video sets from him recently. And he puts in so much work on the, I don't quite want to call it video editing, but on the stream setup, soundboard, that sort of stuff. He does fantastic work on that, and it makes his videos very amusing. So what about Elves makes the matchup so hard for D&T? Everything is the short answer, but essentially D&T tries to lock with certain lock pieces, and Elves just doesn't care about most of our lock pieces. A Wasteland or a Port doesn't really matter because they have mana dorks. A Phyrexian Revoker doesn't matter too much because they have too many things I need to shut off. A Thalia doesn't matter that much because they have so many creatures. And because they can just get to 4 mana and natural order you and you die that way, and it doesn't matter if it takes an extra turn. Essentially, the lock pieces don't line up well. Are you going to become German? We'll try. I don't know if that part's gonna happen, but I'll give it the good old Julian try. Have you considered the great lock piece versus elves called Terminus? I'm in a glorified shitposting Facebook group chat that masquerades as a Delver chat, where someone suggested Terminus to me in D&T earlier today. I think it was Captain Haddock. So not the first time that's been brought up. D&T is a strainer and Elves is water. That is like the best analogy for that I've ever heard. That's really good, Red Panda. Also, Red Panda, were you the one who was playing Angel Stompy? I feel like I came across one of your decks the other day. Was that you? The first rule of Delver Chat? I think the first rule of Delver Chat is you shut off the notifications for Delver Chat. Yeah, so Red Panda, I tried to make my own Angel Stompy variant, and I got my butt whipped. Did not win, like, any games in the testing room. This hand's mediocre, but I get to ponder to smooth it out. I'm also going to lead on Tundra because I really don't care if I get wastelanded. Ugh. Alright, so I have Force of Will Brainstorm for a first play. Fucking elves. Alright, let's find a supreme verdict and just, like, let there be justice in the world. I'm not going to cast a Back to Basics against my opponent in all likelihood. And I already have white. No, I'm going to get an island anyway. So I'm going to Brainstorm here to try to find a Swords to Plowshares. That didn't work. So, like, the problem... well, that gets forced. Target that, pitch this. The problem with Moat as a sideboard card versus Elves is that Reclamation Sage is a card that's tutorable in their deck, so Moat is not a reliable way to deal with them. Yeah, you get that Dryad Arbor. Come on, Vendilion, click. Well, I'm going to take the Rex Sage and then destroy them with a Jetay. I mean, I accept that, but it does suck a little bit. Elvish Visionary is amazing. That card's so good. No one knows how humility works. You just kind of figure it out as you go along. Basically, no bounce with Wirewood there. That's interesting. So I know my opponent has another Wirewood. So the second creature I'm going to nug is just Visionary here. The Elves command does lie for a change. That's great. This is basically D&T, right? I just bounce my creatures and I replay them and like I kill people with equipment. This is D&T, right, chat? It's just D&T that's better against Elves. You have 3 1-mana idiots. I don't care about any of them. Nope. All yours. I think I just do the same thing as last turn. Or are they just dead if I play True Name? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They are just dead if I play True Name. And I don't think they can kill me through double Jete counters. You have a Birchlow Rangers. I'd probably just kill that now. That way my opponent can't get 2 mana out of that Cradle. Well, that felt dirty. Baleful Strix was one of the most pushed Magic cards I've seen in years. It's absurd how good that card is. So these are the cards that I'm considering. Back to Basics is probably pretty bad, pretty slow. Council's Judgment is pretty slow. I'll bring it back in if my opponent shows me a Progenitus in game 2. I guess some of the counterspells lose a little bit of value if I'm going to be tapping out for things like Canonist and Meddling Mage. Yeah, okay. Okay, I agree with Cutting Pierce. We should print a new Terminate that just draws a card when you cast it. Yeah, so Baleful Strix, checks all of the Legacy boxes, right? It's a card that generates value, it's blue, it pitches to Force of Will, it has Death Touch, it's also an artifact, so, if you're playing a Tarmogoyf deck, it, randomly grows that too, or it can be, relevant with, Tezzeret pluses. It was, it seems like a perfectly designed pushed Legacy card. And it was from, some random Plane Chase set. Oh, well, the flying goes without saying, right? It's some crazy owl thing. So what's my last cut? One Jace? I feel like I'm probably winning this match via anemic beats. And I feel like Jace is going to get pressured very easily. Could have been a Baleful Chicken. Oh man, this hand's amazing. So we get, plow their first card, play Canonist on 2. Hope to not get choked. Now we'll Ponder, give them a chance to fetch Dryad Arbor if they want. I want this Snapcaster Mage, so I can Snapcaster Swords. I'm going to keep this. True Name's going on bottom, and then I get both of these other cards. I'll be fetching away the True Name one way or another. Yeah, but I don't think I'm playing the Canonist on 2 anymore. I think I'm more likely to Swords to Plowshare something. this can get out of hand. I don't have anything I need to Swords to Plowshares yet. Like, the Wirewood Symbiote is going to eat it, but I want to give myself the opportunity to counterspell a Glimpse or a Natural Order here. I will 100% counterspell an Elvish Visionary. Or will I? I could just, like, tag the Wirewood Symbiote and then Snapcast or Plow something on my turn. But that would give them, like, the third thing for Heritage Druid. Or not, yeah, for Heritage Druid. So it could get out of control, whereas this turn otherwise is pretty safe. So I think I do counterspell it. It's kind of awkward that I had to, like, play my Tundra rather than my Scalding Tarn so that I could hold up both Swords of Plowshares and counterspell, but I think it was correct to do so. This may be brainstorm time. I'd love to find a Supreme Verdict and kind of lock this game up. This isn't the greatest. I think I'm going to put back Island, True Name, Fetch, get another Tundra, Ponder again. This is fine, right? So I go Batterskull, Tarn. No, I go Batterskull, Batterskull on bottom, then one of these two, Plow this, and then my next turn is Plow, Snapcaster, Plow. That's pretty stellar. It's not the verdict I want, but it's a solid line of attack. The game probably ends if my opponent doesn't natural order me. That seems like lethal. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Like, my hand wasn't set up to beat natural order. It was set up to beat them kind of, like, bricking for another turn. So, like, the only thing I could have done to beat a natural order was find actual force of will. because it could have beaten Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm if I brought that in. So that's fine. Don't feel bad about that. Yeah, the Pierces were boarded out anyway. This hand's, like, super awkward. So I Plow for their first guy, Spell Snare for their first 2-drop, and, like, I have a lot of disruption, but I need more lands, and I don't have any cantrips. I still think it's a keep, but this is an awkward one. I fully accept that I might die to awkwardness. This is the cost of playing back to basics, right? That's a great draw. I have a safety net now. Yeah, Green Sun's fine. That just gets a Dryad Arbor. I need to hit land drops, which is why I'm brainstorming now. That technically counts. So what? I'm going to put back Batterskull. I'd like to shuffle that away if I can play Stoneforge next turn. Or I can play Stoneforge now. And shuffle away 2 of these. I don't want Batterskull. And I should probably shuffle away a counterspell. Maybe Spell Snare, since I'm not going to have it up this turn. And this is the most likely Elvish Visionary turn. I think I like that. Oh, on turn 1, you mean? Yeah, that would have been reasonable. Ooh, they're just going for the natural order and I get the blowout. Now if I draw land, this game's over. I did. The game is over. Skill game. It'll be interesting to see if they just, like, yeah. Well, if he finds another one, it doesn't matter, because I still have one Jitte counter remaining. The game continues. Although I don't really know how we lose from here. Like, I have Counterspell, followed by Snapcaster Counterspell up. That one can resolve, that's fine. Change my mind, I want the Nettle Sentinel, so that my Stoneforge can still attack. Got a Boros Charm to protect the Jitte. We don't have red in this deck, unfortunately. We just can't protect the Jitte that way. And I'm just going to leave up Counterspell, and I'm not going to play this land in case I get a Brainstorm. Unfortunately, we don't have quadruple blue right now, so we can't True Name and Counterspell, despite the fact that we have 5 mana. Alright, well, opponent has 1 card. They have a 19 turn clock. Noxious Revival. Put the Jitte on top of the library. Wreck target Elves player. We did it, quad blue. Oh man, look at that Dryad Arbor. He can beat a Snapcaster now in combat. He's such a bully. Guess I'll just attack with this fish. I don't even know if I play this Batterskull. I kind of just think I pass with Counterspell up. Like, opponent has nothing. I'd much rather, like, Counterspell a card that matters from them and then jam Batterskull. The opponent could go Glimpse, 1-drop creature, 1-drop creature, 1-drop creature, 1-drop creature, blah blah. Or, like, Natural Order into Progenitus. Although, we might race that with True Name Batterskull. So I'm going to play this land, so that if I draw another land next turn, I can Batterskull with Counterspell up. They should be able to get saucy with the tree there. Yeah, this is a 2014 stream. It was a 2016 stream earlier, but now it's 2014. Time Machine has gone further back. Ah, we are now to fetch for marginal thinning territory. I'm still gonna put that natural order on the bottom. I currently beat it, but I don't know what that other card is. Like, natural order is one of their better draws. I should just get rid of that. You can have Elvish Visionary. And we get there. Give me my victory screen. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, what if their last card is like Thoughtseize, and they go like, Thoughtseize me, take Counterspell, Natural Order. I guess I still have Clusterstorm. It doesn't matter. But what if there's I don't know. Like, there might be some weird world where that Natural Order wins them the game. I couldn't think of one, but I didn't want to be wrong. Seeing as I couldn't really figure out how I lost from that situation anyway, it's probably fine to bottom it. Yeah, good luck racing that board. Does not seem likely. Natural Order for Elder Scaleworm. Stranger things have happened. Alright, good evening everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run ThrabenU University. Tonight we're streaming a donation deck. We are streaming Blue-White Back to Basics Stoneblade. We are currently 2-0. We're looking to bully some people with a list from, who knows, chat keeps changing its mind what year it is. Earlier it was 2016, now it's 2014. Maybe by the end of the night we'll get back to 2018. Who knows? But this list has been a lot of fun so far, and it's felt very, very good. A lot of the random one-ofs in the deck have just been devastating. Like the Spell Pierces, or well, that's a 2-of, but like the Spell Pierces were gross. The Supreme Verdict did a lot of heavy lifting. The Click has been amazing. This just feels like a very, very solid deck list. Hey, Julian is all about enchantments that bully lands, right? He's a choke sort of guy. He gets it. Three mana enchantments that mess with lands are good. Like Blood Moon, Back to Basic, Choke, they're all devastating. Battle. Alright, looks like my opponent plays Storm. In which case, I am going to keep the hand that has a Force of Will. And really hope to find a Brainstorm, because the hand needs some help. I mean, can't you find room for both 2 chokes and 2 planeswalkers? It's Maverick. It's got to be able to work out, right? The Dean is playing good cards? This was a donation. Someone bribed me to play the good cards. How is the Storm matchup? Keep in mind that anything I say here is from the opinion of someone who does not play this deck regularly. But I imagine that, like, we have Pierce, Snare, Counterspells, Forces, Flusters, Mindbreaks, Surgicals, Meddling Mages, Rest in Pieces if we need it. Like, it seems like we have a reasonable set of cards to fight back. This has lands, which I need, and another cantrip, so that's fine. I think I'm gonna Bury Tarn, Hide Ponder, take this island, no shuffle. And we're gonna hope to hide behind this force, or hope that my opponent just makes goblins that I can Supreme Verdict. Does Storm beat Blade? It seems like I have good tools to fight it. But again, I'm not a pilot of this deck. Well, there goes that force. Yes, I know Verdict is only live if they empty. But don't have too much to say about that. I've just kind of got to accept that. I do believe they are playing tests, so like empty is the primary way they win. I'd find it more likely that my Verdict is going to get duressed and then my opponent goblins than they're just going to like Tendrils kill me. Especially after taking a mulligan. This is indeed not Death and Taxes. It's felt a lot like D&T, though. We've just bullied people by denying them mana and then beating them to death with equipment. Alright, opponent has 8 cards. I feel like they're going to do something dirty to me. Rish the Mage. This was a donation deck list, by the way. Wow, totally blank on the name. Raymond V donated to have me do 3 different streams with Stoneblade. So this is the first of those 3 streams. The others will probably be next week. Alright, here we go. I mean, it has some degree of overlap with D&T. Alright, so this is gonna probably Cabal Therapy Force of Will if they can Tendrils kill me. Otherwise, it'll name Verdict. Or opponent is ghosting me? That's really disappointing. Nope. Sorry, he did probe me. He did probe me. Never mind. Never mind. I take it back. Unghost. Sorry, this is what happens when you're bouncing back and forth between a whole bunch of screens, by the way. You lose track of things that are happening. Yeah, I don't get ghosted often enough to, like, have something preset. It's only happened 3 or 4 times in the entire time that I've been streaming over the last 6 months. Alright, what's the go big piece? Infernal Tutor. So what do we have? So that's 6, 7, 8, 9 if Past in Flames. I think my opponent can just get a Past in Flames kill if they have it in main deck. Nope. Alright, Ednos. No kill yet. Still no kill. Burning Wish might do it there. So I'm effectively at 22 life. That means the Burning Wish for Tendrils is lethal through Jitte. Alright, so what are we doing? So I probably want Meddling Mages and Canonists. Surgical and Fluster. Blue Elemental Blast can hit Rite of Flame and Burning Wish. That's probably good enough. Let's start figuring out what's bad. Oh, Mind Ray Trap. And Verdict is a maybe. Like, Verdict answers Goblins, but, like, it's super likely to just get duressed. So, Swords to Plowshares is a blank. Back to Basics is too slow. Council's Judgment is basically irrelevant. I don't know how I feel about these verdicts as a way to fight goblins. That might be too ambitious. Yeah, I think I want Sophie over Jitte. I think this is what I want to do unless someone talks me into playing the Supreme Verdicts. I'm kind of on the fence about those, especially if I'm going to bring in 4 Hate Bears. I really don't want to sweep those off the board, because they probably just mean I win. I think I like this. Keep. 3 turn 1 counterspells. This is fine. Yeah, like, if I think about the previous game where the verdict sat in my hand all game and did nothing because my opponent knew about it, it's rough. Get out. I'm not giving them the freebie here. I 100% think that is worth... God damn it! A card. God damn, Gataxian Probe. The card's so good. No, I think the play was very correct, and I think it just didn't work out. And I'm A-okay with that. Alright, so now we're pretty safe. We have, like, Snapcaster, Flusterstorm, and Force of Will both up. Now that I have that second Snapcaster Mage, I will just play one out as Ambush Viper this turn. Our draws have been very cooperative this game. Our hand is stacked. I'm gonna let that go. It's not like a piece of discard beats us anyway. I think I'm gonna bite at the first spell that matters. None of these matter yet. Just going for ad nauseum. So what's storm count? Rite of Flame, Dark Ritual, ad nauseum, Snapcaster, so that'll be counter unless you pay 5 if I just go to Flusterstorm. That's pretty good. I think I'll go for that. Oh, I have to let that resolve. Opponent is indeed going to pay 5. And then we'll Spell Pierce. Another Dark Ritual. Nope. See, like that's kind of why I thought I was going to be favored in this matchup, was just like all of those various counterspells and different angles of attack that I get from. But I do definitely see the point that my clock is anemic. Like playing this next game, I might keep in mind that like if I have a Snapcaster Mage on turn 2, I might just want to jam it to just get the clock going if I have some other degree of disruption. This sounds great. We've got a Force of Will for turn 1. Bear for turn 2. Ponder my turn 1, unless I draw a counterspell. Don't think I want any of that. It's possible that playing the Ponder was the mistake. Now if my opponent can like Cabal Therapy and go off, they just have to name Force of Will, not respecting the other 1-mana ones. Infernal Tutor gets Dark Ritual. That's probably just an I don't want to discard. Cabal Therapy probably just names like Force of Will and gets me. But he could miss, and if he misses, I still have Counterspell. I'm just gonna let it happen. There's some world where my opponent just names Brainstorm as well. Oh, it names actual Counterspell. Okay, that's fine. So if you want me to counterspell, give me a reason why I should counterspell. Like if I'm counterspelling, I'm really just protecting information. Okay, but either way, I have one counterspell left over, right? So if they name Force, they get 2 of my cards, but I still have, like, 1 available to me. So if I counterspelled last turn, my opponent still would have named Force of Will this turn, in all likelihood. So I didn't really gain or lose anything by the line that I took. No, my opponent, like, still, with almost certainty, names Force of Will with that follow-up one. Sure, but don't you just, like, by default name the 4 of? Like, I'm not saying there's no value in using Counterspell on that turn. but I think there's very little lost for not counterspelling. Yeah, like Goblin Lackey, that's an acceptable play, I suppose. But I think there's the chance that the initial Cabal Therapy whiffs in some capacity, and I've got upside for that. Like, regardless of which line was correct or best, I think they're all within like 1% of each other, like with various plus and minuses on either side. And like, given that I have like Canonist backed up by double counterspell, I feel pretty darn good in my position. Like almost triple, because like Beb only kind of counts, right? Yeah, exactly. Like in this discussion about counterspells, the Aethersworn Canonist is king. And just to like continue the conversation a little bit more, because it is really interesting. If we do Goblin Lackey's line and we force pitch force on the Cabal Therapy, then that tells my opponent that I have another card worth protecting. And what would that be? Probably like Counterspell or Flusterstorm. And so, like, I would think that this list would be playing more Counterspells than Flusterstorms. So on a follow-up Cabal Therapy, I would be naming Counterspell anyway. So I think it just like all comes out like dead equal or very, very close to it in the long run. Super interesting spot though. Senior Stompy. My hand's reasonable. Maybe this back to basics finally gets to wreck someone. I'd like to find a second blue source. There it is. So I get 2 of these. I probably want the threat, but I might want the brainstorm more. Yeah. I'm gonna go true name, brainstorm, delta, no shuffle. This way, if I don't counterspell something on my turn, I can brainstorm and pick up that true name so I have a threat, and also throw back this Jete if it's not going to be good. So I don't want this Batter Skull. And I don't know if I'm playing against like Grixis Delver or Sneak and Show or Check Pile yet. It's very unclear. So that makes my next decision significantly harder. I think I'm okay with all the other cards that are in my hand. I care the least about the Jitte right now. But if my opponent is on Delver and I stick this true name, it's just disgusting. Evening, Welshman. Maybe I throw back Tundra, and I don't need the 4th land yet. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to jam something this turn. I think it's the true name. I think I jam the true name this turn. If my opponent counters it, so be it. And then I jam back to basics after they do some play or other. But I could see leading in the other order to get the back to basics countered and then resolve the true name as a real threat. Let's try sticking with threat. I hope that doesn't mean my opponent is on, like, show and tell, and I just, like, drop the guards with the counterspell. Storm. Alright, so they get to do their worst. Okay, so we are playing against Tess, so it is the same matchup as last time. Please just empty. I might be able to beat empty with true name Jitte. Oh no, I fetched twice, so Tendrils is lethal. No. They got me. They got me, chat. That's okay. I still think that, like, jamming either back to basics or true name is correct there in a complete absence of information. I don't regret my play. Alright, so what did we do last time? Trap, sword, mages, canonist, surgicals, flusters, beb, verdict out, plows out, jitte out, 1 Stoneforge out, Council's Judgment, back to basics out. 60. Easy. Yeah, and like, so this is the advantage of playing an ambiguous deck right now. If you lead on Grixis colors and you don't do anything in the first turn or two, it's so hard to tell what deck you are. This hand's great. We have a counterspell. We have a piece that interacts in a different direction. I have a ponder to find more counters. I have a threat for turn 3 if I can safely tap out. Click's fine. Am I fine with taking 1 land and a click? I can fetch the second land away. Or do I just want to try to draw into more counterspells? Like, the click is a way better turn 3 play than True Name. That's a significant upgrade. I should probably take that. But if my opponent goes like Duress and takes my Mind Break Trap, things are pretty dicey, and I'd rather have another play for next turn. So I'm kind of inclined to shuffle this. Yeah, that's arguably better. Now I have, like, turn 2 Surgical, Snapcaster, Surgical. If my opponent goes for some sort of, ad nauseum kill, I can snipe a bunch of the good stuff out of their deck in response. Alright, Duress takes the Mind Break Trap. Yeah, Welshman, I agree. If my opponent has Duress and I kept the click, it'd be a very dicey spot for me. So, like, drawing the Surgical is a better draw than the click, given what I was afraid of, which is why I shuffled. And, like, drawing anything basically would have been better, right? Like, drawing, like, a Spell Pierce, a Blue Elemental Blast, a Fluster Storm. Like, there are so many better draws than click and a land. Yes, I was rewarded, but, like, is that enough? The answer is probably no. Oh no, I don't think you're being a backseat driver or anything like that. I'm just interacting with comments. I'm surgicaling here for information, not because I think this duress is important. Oh god. Okay, so what's spicy that they brought in? So there's a decay. There's 2 Xantid Swarms. That's really good to know about. Oh great, that hand didn't keep. I'm really glad I took a snip of that. Okay, am I dead? Not dead. But I'm on dangerous turf. So this will just name my true name that they know about now. I couldn't surgical therapy. Therapy was on the stack. And the faster clock of True Name is going to be better than just playing Snapcaster and whittling away at my own life total. Like, if I played Snapcaster and cast the Surgical, I'd be, like, doing something stupid like Surgicaling Bloodstained Mire. That's not great. So what could they have drawn to start going off here? Adnaz? Just, like, natural draw Adnaz? Like, they don't have red. Did they draw a land? Oh, I see. Like, cast Snapcaster, target Surgical. Them drawing Infernal Tutors is kind of rough beats for me. Yeah, I don't know if I love the Surgical on Therapy there. Like, the 2 life is probably super relevant. Am I dead? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm dead. Why are they still flipping? So, the opener was fine. The Ponder was weak. Opponent drawing the Infernal Tutor was a little lucky. I was kind of hoping for a turn or two of them stumbling that I could capitalize on. But, like, I'm not overly surprised I lost that one. That's fine. Like, we're 3-1. We're doing just fine with this deck. Alright, last match. Oop. Let's see how we do. All we need for a perfect 4-1 is another click rematch. Alright, no data on my opponent. My hand's kind of average. But, like, I'm not throwing this back. I'm going to ponder turn 1 and probably look for a threat. I'll probably keep any decent selection of cards that has a fetch land, so that, like, between the Ponder and the Brainstorm, I can kind of sculpt my hand. Oh yeah, like, you can't be a Legacy player and get mad when you lose the combo. This is a great series of cards. I don't know how much of this I actually want. I'm gonna bury the Verdict. And I'm gonna take the Stoneforge and the Snapcaster Mage. Possible I should have taken the Snapcaster so I could consider pitching it to Force of Will over my Brainstorm. That's probably an error on my end. Again, Volcanic Island opener. Could be anything. I'm fine with that stifle happening. Yeah, it's potentially Rug Delver or just Grixis Delver with Stifle. Grixis Delver with Stifle is the answer. I like how my opponent has used 3 cards to deal with things that I just don't care about. Like, I'm gonna resolve this Jitte and then do dirty things to my opponent. Thought Scour. Neat. Opponent's gonna play a big fish. Which I'm gonna attempt to Force of Will. If this eats like a Daze or something like that, that's actually not that bad for me, because like later on I'll just Verdict away that and have a Jitte left over. Yeah, so like this is fine. Now opponent can't really profitably attack with Gurmag Angler. Got a Spell Pierce for their next play, which I'll probably even just Spell Pierce a cantrip. Not that one, though. That one's bad. So this is not traditional Grixis Delver. This is like Turbo Grixis Delver that goes relatively all in on graveyard shenanigans. So I'm going to get this angler out of here. And now I'll walk into my opponent's obvious removal spell. Not a removal spell. Opponent has too many lands over there. Alright. No whammy. Feel like I've won. Basic lands. Okay, so we're playing against non-traditional Grixis Delver. Let's figure out what I want to do. I probably just board out my Force of Wills and replace them. I like most of the rest of my cards. Although, what is this Spell Snare going to hit from my opponent? There's no actual guarantee that my opponent is playing Young Pyromancer. So the Spell Snare might be a little weak. Yeah, the Young Pyro is a big if, though, right? So, like, it's guaranteed going to hit Daze. It might hit some sideboard cards like a Braid that I care about. Well, Goblin Lackey, they're probably on, like, 4 Anglers because of the Thought Scours. I don't actually know if they play Pyros. It feels likely because, like, they're just playing more cantrips. But I don't know for sure. So it's, yeah, Pierce is definitely better than Snare. The question is, like, is a Force of Will, for example, better than Spell Snare? I think for game 2, I'm going to keep in this Snare. And if they have Pyro on the draw, though, like, this is so good. All right, fine. Two different people say Force. Let's play a one of Force. This has lands, no answer to a threat, too many lands, but 2 disruption spells. I don't think I can keep this. I think I need something proactive in my opener. This hand is insane. I'm going to fetch right here to play around Stifle. In case anyone's wondering what I'm doing. Interesting, they have surgicals in. Don't really know why. I don't think you bring in surgicals versus this kind of deck. Oh man, the rest in peace value is real. I really hope it resolves. I don't think it is guaranteed to by any stretch of the imagination, but it's crazy good if it does. Oh wow, it just happened. And the trigger didn't get stifled? What a wonderful world I'm living in. So, what my opponent probably thought is, you're a Snapcaster deck, so this is good against you. But that's largely a fallacy. Alright, so now I'm going to need a Supreme Verdict to lock up this game. Hello, hello. Although the sort of scary thing is that if I draw Supreme Verdict, I do need to fetch to do it. And a Stifle would get me good. Alright. Okay, so what if I get, like, stifled or something? Which one of these do I want second most? Probably the land. No, probably a brainstorm. I'm gonna go. Oh, can I not undo that? That's unfortunate. Oh well. The good news is that if opponent is playing surgical, there might be more surgicals in their deck, so we have additional value. Okay, so what did I leave on? Oh, no, I don't know what's on top, because I just shuffled with Stoneforge. So that's fine. So they sent a Brainstorm and a True Name to exile. Yes. Value confirmed. So I guess the big question is going to be, like, does my opponent have a Stifle to stifle the Batterskull Germ trigger or the Stoneforge put-in trigger? I'm pretty tempted to just, like, put it in right now before I give my opponent one more draw. But I'm not going to do that, because if I put it in and then something happens to it, the Deathrite Shaman can attack in, and I shorten the clock. So sensing the trap, I'm just going to block with Stoneforge Mystic on the Deathrite Shaman and let that bounce. Alright, so there is a Stifle. I'm going to try to get them to react more, in which case I can Spell Pierce the Stifle and win. I see what you did there, chat. Now I will go ahead and main phase this. That way if they have a second Stifle, I can just Spell Pierce this one. I'm on dangerous margins here, though. A lightning bolt will kill me. An opponent knows my hand, so if they have anything, they just... opponent says, have lightning. Why do you think he should have stifled the living weapon trigger? If I draw a land, don't I just equip Stoneforge and, like, murder? Yeah, there is a big assumption that my opponent had both stifles at the time, right? Was there a cantrip in between? Or a turn in between? I don't remember. Do I just want to jam Stoneforge? I kind of want to wait a turn and play it with Flusterstorm backup. Since my opponent has stifles, I have to respect that. I think I'm even gonna wait and not remove this Stoneforge here. Or, sorry, not remove this Death Ray here, so that if my opponent has, like, Daze and Stifle, they don't just, like, win the game on the spot. Well, I guess if they have Daze and Stifle and I, like, stick Stoneforge Mystic, it's fine. Maybe I'm being overly fearful. Okay. So, what now? You just get Batterskull, force them to deal with it, kind of just want to get Sword of Fire and Ice. And just have a reasonable card that I can cast if the Stoneforge gets removed. So I don't know that we've seen a spell snare target from my opponent in the last game, right? So, like, playing the one of Force is probably better, even though this looks kind of awkward. I was thinking about something. Maybe they have, like, a stifle and they're deciding whether or not they want to, like, cantrip or hold up that stifle. Oh no, my opponent disconnected. They weren't thinking at all. Moto, quality program. Right, yeah, I don't consider Daze as a target for that either. Like, when your opponent dazes, you would much rather have, like, just about any other counter spell over Spell Snare. Like, it works, but, like, wouldn't you just pay 1 mana? Probably were thinking, just not about what to play. Okay, that's fair. I don't think I want to force that Delver. I think I just want to, like, resolve my own click. No, I'm not going to play Old School tomorrow. Ooh, that's probably better than Click. I've got to work potentially half a day tomorrow, and then I'll probably stream Elves. So my opponent has 2 real cards left in the land they just picked up. Do I force a Daze and just get their only threat off the table, leaving me ahead and with a sword? Probably not. Them revealing a Daze kind of sucks. Daze is very good against my hand right now. But if I draw a land, then it's irrelevant. Alright, so I know they have land and days in hand. Yeah, I hear equipment's good versus Delver. I will heavily consider using a Force of Will on like a Lightning Bolt or a Fatal Push or something like that on my Stoneforge. Although that Tropical Island is suspicious and makes me think Grudge. Can't force both sides of a Grudge. Or maybe it was just like, get this for Deathrite, gain life purposes. That's worth a force. Why is days on that Force of Will good if I have 2 mana up? I don't understand. We are currently 3-1. And unless my opponent had a good draw, we're probably about to be 4-1. Oh, I see basic plans. Got it. That makes more sense. Opponent just said, oops, what did they do? Opponent says, oops, can't operate. Unsure what they mean by that. Well, 5 seconds behind is fine and normal. That's totally reasonable. It's when you start getting much beyond that that it kind of sucks. Today has had more delay than usual for some reason. Yeah, so like maybe they had a better land, maybe they had a brainstorm in hand. Not sure exactly. And opponent disconnected again. Joy! Oh, I see. 10 to 15, 5 to 15 seconds beyond what is normal. Okay, yeah, that's reasonable. All right, chat, we're probably going to have a minute or two here while my opponent reconnects, so if you have any questions, this is a good time to ask them. Why blue-white as opposed to blue-white-red? If I'm just playing blue-white, then I can leverage the power of lots of basic lands paired alongside back to basics. So like, let's pull up this deck list. So if we take a look at this, I have 5 islands and 4 plains. I have 9 basic lands, as well as 4 things that fetch plains and 4 things that fetch island. Or sorry, I should say like 4 things that fetch plains, 8 things that fetch island. So my mana base is super rock solid. So you say that Moon is better, but if you are a multicolored deck, is that actually true? Like if you've watched a bunch of Jordan's streams, Isoka MTG's streams, he very frequently has situations where his own Blood Moons are awkward because he is a 3-color deck. So I don't think it's just like strictly better. And a lot of times, Back to Basics is sort of a one-sided Armageddon, and that's just like crazy good. But like that being said, when your opponent has a whole bunch of untapped lands, then like the Moon is better. Thoughts on bans, unbans? Deathrite Shaman needs to go. It's the best card in the format behind Brainstorm, and it's not particularly close. When the combo, control, and aggro decks are all built around that card, and cards like Wasteland can no longer punish the greed of the format because of this, that's probably too much. Like there's a lot more to say there, and there's plenty of other things that Deathrite Shaman do that are ridiculous, but that's enough of that. So I am pro Deathrite Shaman ban, and I'm also pro Gitaxian Probe ban. I don't think Probe will get banned, but the free information's pretty absurd. Yeah, Captain Q, that's a very good comparison. Like, Choke and Back to Basics in many ways are the same card. They are both very powerful cards that have some timing restrictions for making them as good as they can be. Grizzlebrand is a perfectly fair Magic card. Like, it costs 8 mana, so hard casting it is basically out of the question, and you have to try to cheat it into play. Grizzlebrand is one of the best things ever printed that you can cheat into play, but it's fine. Like, I'm A-okay with Grizzlebrand being in the format in the forms of, like, Black-Red Reanimator and Sneak and Show. Like, I'm fine with both of those decks in the forms that they are in. I don't think either one of those decks is overpowered. Although, EW Landon is just, like, destroying everyone with it. So maybe I'm wrong. If Deathrite Shaman is banned, what decks would die and what decks would be great? It's complicated. So, To draw a parallel, let's think back to the Sensei's Divining Top ban, right? So when Sensei's Divining Top got banned, the best control deck of the format left, meaning that sort of like the tier 1 obvious idea was that fast combo decks like Ant and Elves get better in response. But then after that, we immediately saw the rise of decks geared to beat those two decks. And then things kind of leveled out. But this time around, if Deathrite Shaman goes, like 60% of the legacy archetypes are impacted, right? So it's not just like one deck going here. It's Grixis Delver taking a hit. It's Check Pile probably dying. It's Slow Depths no longer being a deck. It's many of like the mid-rangey Maverick type decks taking a small hit. It's Elves losing one of the ways that it can go absolutely nuts with like Quirion Ranger or beat through an Ensnaring Bridge. So Deathrite Shaman going has like huge implications for the entire format. It's not going to be one of those simple, it's easy to predict what happens when Deathrite goes. It's going to be one of those like, we're going to have a couple really fun months of Legacy where everyone tries to figure that out. Yes, we lost to Tess. Yeah, I think my opponent just, like, said, oops, can't operate, realized that they threw the game, and then is just being a jerk by disconnecting and just timing out for 9 minutes rather than conceding. Which is frustrating, like, but whatever. Yeah, so, like, a lot of decks will adapt easily. Things like green decks that are playing Deathrite Shaman for mana with upside can just replace those things with, like, Llanowar Elves, Birds of Paradise, Noble Hierarch, and be very minimally impacted. So, like, some decks will get along fine, but others will die. Like, if Deathrite Shaman got banned, and, like, I was going to ask, like, what deck would I recommend to some random Legacy player to, like, play in the tournament after, I would just jam something stupid like Sneak and Show that just does not care about what your opponent is doing at all. That would be my first go-to, is just, like, play Sneak and Show and just, like, jam, try to kill my opponent with minimal interaction. Don't care about, like, trying to have the right control cards for the first couple of weeks. I would just go on, like, solid combo beats after Deathrite Shaman got banned. So how long, so FPaw, how long have you been playing Legacy? Because if you think back to Legacy from, I don't know, 5 years ago, there used to be way more graveyard hate in the sideboard because Deathrite Shaman had not gotten printed yet. And because like most decks weren't abusing their graveyards all that heavily. So, like, if Deathrite Shaman goes, everyone keeps the Reanimator and graveyard-based decks a little more honest by playing more hate for them. And things kind of probably just stay where they're at. Yeah, okay. So, like, when I first started playing D&T, I played something absurd, like 6 or 8 graveyard hate cards in my sideboard. Alright, come on, Mo. Give me my I win notification. Okay, there we go. So that's the 4-1. Note that even if my opponent hadn't like disconnected and just left, they were very dead. Like, I had 2 different pieces of equipment, both of which were taking over the game. My opponent had like 1 live card in their hand potentially. We were done there. So this deck list felt very good. If I were to highlight what felt good about it, Spell Pierce felt amazing. That card was so good. The Back to Basics did not do much this league. That does not mean I think they are bad. We just won most of our games with, like, lots of counterspells and equipment. So I would definitely run a deck list like this back again, although I kind of have other plans for some different Stoneblade lists that I want to try out. Okay, so for anyone who wasn't here earlier, I want to run through a couple of announcements. So 1, there is a matchup primer for Red Prison available on Thraben University now for the D&T versus Red Prison matchup. That is under the Matchups tab, not under the Articles tab. Number 2, I wanted to thank Raymond V for the donation for this and 2 other Stoneblade streams. The other 2 will be coming probably next week. 3, Card Hoarder gave me a raise, so my loan account has been bumped up to $500, so now I can borrow even more sweet cards. That's how I was able to play this deck list tonight without having to run and like hunt down my roommates to borrow Force of Wills or anything like that. So big thanks to Card Hoarder. If you need cards, consider them. They've helped me out a lot personally. And finally, tomorrow afternoon when I get off of work around 12:30, I will be streaming Elves as the reward for us hitting 900 followers here on this channel. That was a big one. Oh, Lotto Carnage, thank you very much for the bits. I'm glad you're enjoying the content here. So, this deck list was great. I've been enjoying the Stoneblade decks. Time for blue-white stasis. Forests, I'm upset. Yeah, oh gosh, yeah. Goblin Lackey, that's a good point. We were very fortunate to not run into Cavern of Souls. I'm a little soft to Cavern, right? So what do we have? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 main deck counterspells. Cavern would make us a sad panda for sure. Yeah, back to basics them after they Cavern. You get 1 uncounterable, idiot. And then we'll kill it with our 1 uncounterable verdict. Yeah, that all sounds very fun. Alright, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night here. If you've enjoyed this content, please follow. I'm looking to grow the stream, and I'm going to be doing a ton of Legacy content. I'm a teacher, and tomorrow's my last day of work, so expect me to be doing a lot of streaming from here on out. And if you're really enjoying what I'm doing, please consider subscribing and really supporting Thraben University and my stream. There's a lot of great stuff coming, and I hope you enjoy it.